Hello, friends. How is everyone today? Hope everything's good. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me know in the chat if the audio's okay for you. Fingers crossed it should be. And of course, today we have Apple's earnings call, which is not quite yet, but it's coming up very, very soon. So do let me know just in the comments that the audio's okay, and then we can crack on with this. I'll turn that one off over there. How is everyone? Make sure you introduce yourself in the chat so that I know who's here. We can all say hello. I've got my earpiece in because obviously we can't rebroadcast what Apple is saying in their call, but we can kind of comment on it as it goes through. We've got about half an hour before the call starts, but they do tend to put out the numbers a little bit before that, so we will have a chat about that. They've also opened a new Apple store today, so we'll touch on that down in Brompton Road in London. That is just around the corner from the Harrods store. How are we doing, Stephen? How are you doing, Joe? Gary Woodward, how are you doing? I'm glad we've got some people here. Just do let me know that the audio is working okay for you guys. And if there's anything that needs to be changed, I'm right in the way with the light there. Let's just pop that round a little bit. Yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting evening. This is the first call that we've got before since the downturn started a little bit. So FB London, evening, how are you doing? Sharon Mitchell, how are you? Let's have a chat. FB London, are you actually based in London? If you are, have you been to Brompton Road today? Be cool to know what the new store is like. Looks pretty awesome, and it is just around the corner from Harrods, so that's going to be pretty awesome. Hundreds queue for the opening of the Apple store. Audio's brilliant. Great, Thomas. Fantastic. Michael Moy, $160.90. Don't see earnings yet. Oh, 160.9. Oh, okay, so that's the shares price. Michael Moy, I'm glad you're here because you can actually give us some real commentary on this stock stuff. That's going to be important tonight. Thank you very much for being here. Red Design Trinidad Limited. Hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you. Yourself? Yeah, I did actually want to go down to London. I was looking at like coach fares and things to go down for the opening of Brompton Road, because quite often when they do these openings, Apple do bring some of the execs down. I'm not sure who was there, but we'll have a quick look. I think Deirdre was going to be there. We'll have a quick look. Yeah, Deirdre O'Brien was there. I would guess they probably had a few people from Apple's exec team, which is good. When does it start? It's starting in about 27 minutes. So it's 5 p.m. on the West Coast, I believe. Joe, iOS 16 Beta 4 keeps crashing YouTube for some reason. Same thing has occurred to me while watching Mr. Beast hit 100 million subs live. Oh, that's crazy. So I've just installed iOS Beta 2 public version. So I don't do the developer ones, but I do the public betas. I've installed that on the iPad and on my iPhone, which is fine. That's all good. Just to let you know as well, guys. This is going to be staying. It's staying. I'm not sending it back. But we are on the Mac Mini at the moment, which is my main desk setup. FB London, yep, in London we'll be visiting the new store. Cool. You'll have to let us know how it is once you get down there. Amazon's up 12%. Earnings are $1.20 per share. That seems high. Based previously, earnings beat expectations by 3%. $1.20 per share is the earnings. Amazon lost money too. Right, okay. Have they actually put the numbers out on the newsroom yet? There we go. Yes, it's just arrived. So yes, let's have a quick look. I like to go into the consolidated statements first. That's the important one. I've already got the I've got everything lined up for the call when it starts, so that will be coming up. In fact, they've put the broadcast onto the site now. The link is in the description if anyone else wants to listen into it as well, because we won't be streaming Apple's audio on this, because that will just get us taken down like super quickly. But let's have a quick look. So net sales for the 3 months ending in This month they were down very slightly on last year. But like, this is in billions, I assume, or millions. Oh, this will be millions. So it's $63,355,000,000 versus like I think they were up $500 million more last time. So yeah, it's down slightly, but not crazy amounts. And given the economy and what have you, not too bad. Oh, in fact, I tell a lie. That's on the products, and then on services they're actually up, which means overall the net sales are up about 1 billion. No. About 1.5 billion up on this time last year. That's not too bad. Cost of sales vaguely the same, so they're actually about $500 million up on net margin, gross margin. Share price is 162.45 and rising. Mac Studio maybe. Oh, Jeff, are you playing the game? You hoping to be getting a bit of good stuff there? Michael Moore, you should try on low power mode for a week. I mean, we might do that, to be fair. I don't think it's going to make a huge difference to the way that everything works in terms of performance. I think it's going to do pretty well. Why is the quality of the Apple stream so poor? Has it already started? I've got no audio coming through. Let me have a look. Oh, it's because my volume was turned all the way down. So, Stephen, the quality of the Apple stream is so poor because it's just a phone call. It's not yeah. They always do it this way. It's very much just a phone call because it's an investor's like literal phone call, conference call. It's not a video stream. It's nothing like that. So this is just to find out how Apple's done over the past 3 months, basically. The more interesting thing, though, I think, is actually going to be finding out what kind of headwinds they're seeing in terms of the supply chain and if there's any guidance that they give around issues, if there's any delays to any products. That sometimes comes up in these calls. And at the moment, we have heard that there are some issues with the iPhone cameras and the camera modules for the iPhone 14. That is something they definitely wouldn't mention, I wouldn't have thought. Certainly not any specifics. Yes, we are on just music at the moment because the call itself doesn't begin for another 22 minutes or so. So for now, if you have any general Apple questions, feel free to drop those down into the chat. Nice to see you, Fred, Bureau Russell, Jeff Crumpley. Who else have we got here? Stephen, we've spoken to already. Anyone that I've not said hello to, do feel free to say hello in the chat, and I'll give you a quick shout out. It's always good fun on these things. And honestly, we're here to have a chat and jam about what they're talking about. Michael Moy says they warned 4 to 8 billion in Q1, so slight decrease from Q1 is great. Oh, so they were talking about that was what they were hoping to see. In terms of products, though, they're actually almost in line, but way higher on services, which obviously that's the great thing for Apple, is that services don't get affected by supply shortages. They don't get affected in those ways. And I was watching a Luke Miani video earlier where he said that Apple's big problem now is that their computers are too good, and everything from Apple Silicon, people won't feel the need to replace as often as they have in the past, which could cause Apple some issues, how they work out how to get people to upgrade and spend more money on the systems. But actually, I don't think it's a bad thing at all, because what Apple is really looking for is to make sure that people are staying within their ecosystem. I don't think Macs are something that they would want people to be upgrading every time either. This is more of a case of the kind of thing that Apple is maybe looking for a 4-year upgrade cycle, something like that. Oh, what was that? They just said something. Might have just been the end of the track. Hey, Naked Bananas, welcome. Thank you for being here, my friend. Michael Moy says, I don't think you'll notice low power mode. Turned it on my MacBook Pro and it's been fine. Low power mode runs everything on the efficiency cores, which are actually strong on their own. Also, it doesn't use the high powered cores at all. That's impressive. Especially if that's actually capable of running everything that you need. That's pretty impressive. Chris Marino Hardin says, I don't think it will be a problem. They can add new features to the Silicon every year, which they couldn't do in the Intel days. Absolutely. So that's why Apple's been able to add the media encode engines, all of that kind of stuff that they really had no option on before. It was purely what are the chips coming in from Intel, and then there were also commodity chips, so they're going into other people's devices as well. Whereas now they're able to do a bunch more stuff. Michael Moy, I see... Oh, Jeff Crumpley, Michael Moy, I see at 163. Did your sale order go through? So you were waiting to hit a number, were you? So it seems like the market is pretty happy with the numbers that have come out then, right? As I say, I'm not a stocks person. I'm glad we've got Michael Moy, and it looks like Jeff Crumpley here as well, who knows exactly what's going on in terms of the financial side of things. We're here to kind of see if there's anything that we need to know about in terms of product roadmap. They won't give much detail, but there might be some indications of supply shortages and what kind of areas those come in. That's what we were talking about earlier with that 4 to 8 billion that they were seeing as a headwind. But it looks like they've got a lot closer to the numbers that they wanted anyway. Bear in mind that the new MacBook Airs, I don't think came out in that quarter. I think they were released in the July. You couldn't pre-order them, could you, in June? So that would only be representing anything from the MacBook Pro 13-inch with M2, if there is any kind of impact from that. I wouldn't have thought it would be huge, but it's interesting nonetheless. It means that this next quarter, which is the July to September, July, August, September quarter, you will get the iPhones towards the end of it, and then you're also going to actually have a bit of a boost from the MacBook Airs as well, potentially. Am I right on thinking that's how the quarters lie? Michael Moy, probably looking at yourself. Kyle Dodds, all I know is they took a lot of my money. What have you been buying this quarter, my friend? Let me know down in the chat. What have you been picking up? Joe, I'm not a stocks enthusiast, but I do know some investors. I just need to commit more time into learning about the stocks world. Jeff Crumpley, nice, Michael. iCave Dave, I've been enjoying your content. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you very much, my friend. Hopefully it's been helpful for you, giving you something to watch. Michael Moy, I've been running low power mode since late 2021. That's impressive. Michael Moy, Max Tech showed the battery life is insane with low power mode on the M2 Air. I haven't watched that video. I'll be honest. I've unsubscribed to Max Tech because I've not been super happy with the coverage that they've been doing. I think they are over-egging the issues, if you like. Having used this and having used this MacBook Air for 2 weeks, I've charged it twice, and we made full videos on it. Then I was actually playing some League of Legends on it yesterday. It runs well. I'm sorry, there is not an issue with this system for anything that you would practically do with it. Chris says, I would actually put money down on hardware ray tracing. All of Apple's GPU competitors have implemented it if Apple is going to compete in VR space. Yeah, I think that's definitely on the way, and we've had a few people that have been asking about it. Tony Barizo, who's normally commenting on the channel, he's very, very big on this. Stephen, it might be a record, to be fair, because if it was a record this time last year, it probably is, because their actual revenue, net sales, is up about $1.5 billion, just over. So that has definitely been helped by a couple of billion on services, because they were down about $500 million on the physical product sales. Carl Dodd's Full House M1 Max 16-inch, not storage, but took forever to get stock in South Africa, and Touch ID full-size keyboard this past quarter. What a beast. Nice. I've got to say, I've not had a Mac with Touch ID until the MacBook Air. I'm blown away by how quick it is. Like, as soon as you touch that thing, it's open. It's really, really nice. Michael Moy, one thing I use to gauge how long it takes Apple to ship products, how Apple is having problems meeting demand. You know how good the M2 Air is, and Windows people are finding out now. Yeah, I mean, I think the base M2 Air is now not shipping until mid to late August if you want one now. So yeah, it's a good like 3 or 4 weeks out for any model. They may have some in the stores, but not for shipping. Stephen thought it was the third quarter. Yes, it is a record third quarter revenue. Fantastic. So this is all nice for Apple. I'm sure Tim's having a lovely day as a result of it. I mean, I was kind of, as I say, I was going to try and get down to that London new store opening. I thought that would have been a really cool thing to be at and make some content around. However, I had to stay in Birmingham today for reasons which will be revealed. So I wasn't able to get down. I was looking at potentially getting a very late night bus last night to arrive at sort of 6 a.m. this morning and then get over there for the opening, but it sounds like it was pretty busy as it was. And obviously TC wasn't there because he was in Cupertino getting ready for this, I guess. Let's see, I think at $8.99 the M1 Air is such a good value that it kind of destroys the rest of the industry on price point. There's no other laptop to recommend unless you absolutely need Windows. Yeah, I mean, it's still $9.99 full retail, but you can get it for $8.99 all the time. In fact, if we have a quick look on Amazon right now, I would say that, yes, that is probably the best buy you can get. MacBook Air. So yeah, right now here in the UK you can get a renewed. This is so Amazon renewed M1 for $8.79. Let's just pop M1 in there and just make sure that we're getting the right ones. Yeah, so actually brand new from Apple at the moment. They're out of stock, but you can get a 512 gig for $11.38. I mean, if you want to go for Intel, you can get it for like no money at all. But actually, even try and get a renewed base model MacBook Pro at the minute. Renewed base model MacBook Pro with M1 you can get for $9.98, so the price that Apple would charge for an M1 Air. So you can get the extra battery life, you can get the touch bar if that's what you really want. However, MacBook Air M2 is a beautiful bit of kit. Kyle Dodds, the Touch ID on the keyboard is what swayed me away from the Logitech MX keys. Seems so small, but such a quality of life thing with the MacBook up on a stand. Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I've got the kind of the previous model of the wireless keyboard, which is the one that I use with the Mac Mini. It doesn't have the Touch ID though. And I see the joy of it now. I've always had Unlock with Apple Watch turned on my Mac Mini anyway, so that's not been a huge issue. But when you want to use it for passwords and things like that, it's very, very convenient. Wearables down 8%. Let's have a quick look at that. I think Apple had some massive issues on wearables, though. Does wearables include AirPods? I think it does. Let's have a quick look. Oh yeah, so they're down from 8.7 billion to 8.08. So yeah, down quite a chunk on that. iPad down, but only a touch. iPhone down a reasonable chunk, but Mac is the one that's made it up with like 2.2 billion extra in hardware sales there. Which locations? America is up. Europe is up. Greater China is down, but barely. Japan down quite a bit. Japan was a huge market for the M1 Mac Mini when it first came out. And rest of Asia Pacific up quite a bit. Yeah, so earnings per share are actually down a touch from last year. So you're down to 120 from 131. Total debt. Apple's gained some debt. Interesting. So I wonder if this is retooling or if they've paid out some stuff. Oh, in fairness though, they've gained a little bit of current liability, but actually they're down on accounts payable. So I guess they've paid some stuff off too. Amazon, okay, so Amazon in the States has the MacBook Airs for $899, but not shipping until August. Yeah, I have a feeling that Apple might have pulled the M1 MacBook Airs for a little while. I'm not sure if it's an actual supply shortage or if they pulled them slightly so that when all of the reviews came out and everyone said, "Oh, let's just you can still go with the M1 MacBook Air and no one will mind." There aren't any there though, so maybe people are going up to the up to the M2 Air. But that's none of my business. iCaveDave.com/merch. Little ad there. In fact, just before we get into the actual call, let's go to a quick ad so that I can pay my bills. Don't know. Let me know how that ad that I've just added in works, because this is a new feature that YouTube has put in. Is it an advert that's like a cutaway, or is it something that's showing up on the screen? Just interested to know, because I've never got to play with it before. Doesn't seem like it's giving me a gap that it expects, but we'll see. Right, do we actually have some detail here? We've got a little statement here from someone. Don't know if it's Luca or from Tim Cook, but this quarter's results speak to Apple's constant efforts to innovate, to advance new possibilities, and to enrich the lives of our customers, said Tim Cook, Apple CEO. As always, we are leading with our values and expressing them in everything that we build, from new features that are designed to protect user privacy and security, to tools that will enhance accessibility, part of our long-standing commitment to create products for everyone. Chaotic Lives, the call itself will start in about 8 minutes. Bear in mind, we will not be streaming the audio from Apple on here, but it is there in the description if you want to open it in another tab and listen to this as well. Or if you have another device you want to listen to it on. But I will give you any headlines that come through. We've just been looking at the numbers that have come out. It is another record quarter for Apple for the third quarter. So that's all good. Luca Maestri says, our June quarter results continue to demonstrate our ability to manage our business effectively despite the challenging operating environment. We set a June quarter revenue record, and our installed base of active devices reached an all-time high in every geographic segment and product category. During the quarter, we generated nearly $23 billion in operating cash flow, returned over $28 billion to our shareholders, and continued to invest in our long-term growth plans. So, all seems like it's been a pretty good quarter for Apple. It is going to be interesting, though, to see if they do mention potential issues in this next quarter, if there is going to be problems that they need to address. But again, if you guys have got any general Apple questions while we're waiting for this call to start, please ask them in the comments. If you've got any questions on the new MacBook Air, I've been playing with it for the last couple of weeks. It is lovely, and this is what it looks like after a couple of weeks. This is the fingerprint magnet that everyone's been talking about. I haven't been cleaning it particularly, but I don't think it looks as bad as everyone's been making out. And I think that's because it's not brand new anymore, so pretty much all of it has got that kind of slight level of a finger mark on it, so it just doesn't show up anymore, which I think I said like 2 weeks ago. Michael Moy saying cost of sales is up 2%. Yeah, that seems about right. So that's increased cost on materials, is this, or is this in shipping? What would your thoughts on that be, Michael? Let's have a quick look, because what's their margin? Because I believe on hardware last year it was like about 38% the last time I looked. Can't remember if that was margin or cost of sales, to be fair. Which makes a difference. I'm sure they had the percentage on here last time. Let me have a look. R&D up 18%. I'm okay with that. Like, that's where I would like them to be spending their money. R&D is great, but what does that constitute? Are we talking like chips? Are we talking cars? Are we talking AR? That's going to be something that is going to have cost them an absolute fortune to get the development done. But it's all... Michael, you're going to help me with SG and A. I don't know what that is. Sorry. But it's up 11%, and that may or may not be good. Unfortunately, I can't give you any context on that. Thomas Rabenstein, beautiful design, great colour. I envy you for the great MacBook. It is lovely. It is really nice. I'm going to be travelling with it as well next week, so that's quite exciting. That's going to be the only Mac that I have with me. Significantly higher expenses, most likely due to inflationary pressures, but they managed a good report anyway. This is the thing. Tim Cook is such a operator. He's just such a good guy for that. Bear with me 1 second, guys. I think I might sneeze. Hold on. I think we survived. Is anyone else finding this kind of groovy, this music? If you're listening in the background. Apple's background music is going way harder than it needs to. It's good. So yeah, I think this is going to be an optimistic call. I'm just hoping that they're not seeing too many issues coming up in the near future. That's the difficult thing to understand, is how hard is everything else going to hit them. Ah, Universal Controls just kicked in, by the way, and my iPad's like, oh, hi. Come and use me. Cost of sales is the cost to make their products. Yeah, that was what I was thinking. So that's physically making the products. Is that shipping as well? I would guess perhaps to bring everything into the US or into where they're going to be selling it from, out of production. Selling general and administrative is what that SG&A means. Okay, cool. Right, any minute now we should be expecting this call to start. I think we're about 2 minutes away. Bear in mind, if you are listening to the call directly, you will probably be slightly ahead of what I'm hearing. Not because of what I'm hearing it at the right time, but there is a little bit of a delay between me saying something and then it coming through on YouTube. We're listening to Apple Music. So yeah, what is everyone most excited about? Did you see that we were apparently going to get an M1 based Mac Pro and then they scrapped it? Interesting. Looks like they're now waiting for the M2 Ultra, M2 Extremes, so a little bit annoying. I want to see what that's going to look like. Is it going to look like the current one? Apparently there was a prototype that was made with 40 cores on the CPU, 128 core GPU, and apparently it had PCI Express slots in it, which is very interesting. This, I think, is a Mac Rumors exclusive. It's from someone in their forum, but it was also somebody that came with the information about the studio and the name of the studio earlier. So certainly an interesting one. They were also making 27-inch prototype iMacs using the existing chassis originally with M1 inside last year, and then also using the XDR display at a 27-inch size and using a 24-inch iMac at the 27-inch size as other options that they were looking at. But no news on what they're going to do next with it, whether it's going to be a product that they actually get round to or not. I would quite like to see the bigger iMac, but I don't think it's going to come. I think they've basically decided eventually to go with the Studio line instead of larger, more pro-era iMacs. Although I do think we might see M2 and M2 Pro in the iMac. There's been some rumours that they're not going to do an M2 iMac. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. But we will see. It probably won't take as long to see. I would think the October event would be when they would update that, if it's coming. Little slurp of coffee before we get to the actual call. And please do ask any questions in the chat while the call's going on. I will do my best to answer them as much as I can. Don't expect product announcements, though, of course. This is purely for investors, to let people know where the cost issues have come in, where there are issues in supply chain, that kind of thing. And this will be very well prepared statements. There are sometimes some interesting questions at the end from the press. That tends to be where more interesting stuff comes out. But again, we're talking like Tim Cook and Luca Maestri here. They're not loose-lipped. Let's put it that way. Max Tech, your unfavourite YouTuber, said today that it was a TLB issue, which is why the M1 Studio Ultra had performance. TLB? Thermal limiting bar? Stephen, announcement of Apple Car now. Yes, I think that's the other thing they're just going to slip into this financials call, is just the release date of the Apple Car and opening pre-orders probably. They'll just describe it. There's no need to put it on screen or anything. Translation look side buffer. Okay. I'm still not sure what that means. I'm unfortunately not entirely proficient. Here we go. It is time. Oh, call's being recorded. Everyone behave. Good morning. Good afternoon. When's Tim going to be here? Come on, Tim. You there, Tim? Is the call broken? Is anyone hearing anything? Has it gone super quiet for anyone else? Has Apple broken their earnings call, or is it just me? Let me check Twitter. Oh, it's not just me. It's not just me. Matt Rooms is saying that the earnings call is also silent. Oh dear. It's back. He says it's back. I haven't got back. What's going on? Why doesn't Apple want me to know what's going on? Can anyone hear what's going on? There we go. Here we go. Thomas saying that the stream couldn't handle all these people. Right. Yeah, Michael, we can hear it now. So they're basically just going through all of the disclaimers now. Right, here comes Tim. That's a very good point. They've not sold anything in Russia. That's impressive. Double revenue in India? Michael, I was just about to say the audio is way better than normal. So Apple's giving a big kind of... oh, here we go. iPhone. June quarter revenue for iPhone. Yes. 40.6 billion. MacBook Air M2. How have they done, Tim? So supply constraints on the Mac, but a really good reception. Yeah, the base iPads have been a pain to get hold of. To be fair, WWDC was pretty awesome this year. I really want to change the font on my iPad lock screen. Anyone else in the stream playing with the public betas? Still thought it was very strange we didn't see anything about home at Dub apart from Thread. Thomas, no more betas. I'm watching you play with them. I'm finding them really stable. I completely forgot I was even on a beta for the Mac. TLB has a cache store to store recent address translations. Doesn't perform the translation by itself. That's the job of the MMU. Okay. We're into services, which had another record, 19.6 billion. 12% up year on year. Apple is opening an R&D facility in Israel for chip development. They're clearly accelerating R&D. Yeah, I saw a story on this earlier. That is going to be pretty impressive, I think. The Major League Soccer thing is going to be big, I think. Including developer Sam Cole. $2.2 million jobs supported by the App Store in the US. Pretty impressive. Okay, retail. NH asking if I've tried Apple's private relay beta yet. You had issues? Yes, I use it all the time. I've had no dramas with it, as far as I'm aware. Talking again about environmental gains. Google search kept thinking I was a bot. Oh, using Apple Private Relay? Okay. That's very strange. I had some issues the first couple of weeks that I used it where it was just thinking I was in completely different countries. But kind of randomly. Didn't sort of make sense where I was specifically. Because obviously it's being bounced around so much. Interesting to hear Apple working towards helping with affordable housing in California. Very interesting. Should be getting over to Luca Maestri any minute. Although I feel like some of you guys are hearing this way ahead of me. Bedtime for Thomas. Good night, Thomas. Thanks for being here, buddy. I have a feeling we're not going to hear a great deal more stuff now, so I might start to wrap this up, and then if there's anything really interesting that comes out from the Q&As that go on after this, then I will address that in a separate video ready for tomorrow. But if anyone's got any questions about the earnings, just pop them down in the chat now. We'll stay for another 5 minutes or so just to see if there's anything specific that happens. But I think we've probably got past all of the stuff that Tim would have picked up on, which would have been where anything super interesting would have turned up. Like just records everywhere. That's all this is now. It's just record, 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 record. Yeah. 34% margin, which is very low compared to the 38 I think they were on last time I looked. So which means it's a lot harder for them to actually make the money. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap this one up because I think I'm way behind the feed for everyone else. So thank you all for joining us. Nothing crazy. Wins all round for Apple. So I think that's a pretty good one. We're going to wrap it up, and thank you all so much for being here. Really appreciate all of you coming along tonight. We'll pick up on anything major. If you've got any questions about the call, do pop them down in the comments section. Hashtag iCaveAnswers so that I can answer them in the next video for you. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you in the next one.